Welcome to the Reality After Show. We are here to talk about a new television series, competition, The Anonymous, episodes 1 and 2. I'm one of your hosts, Lauren Pratt. Along with me, with a new person to the After Show channel, we have Adrian Roberts joining me here.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I appreciate it. I'm so excited to talk about this show today. It's been the first two episodes have been such a roller coaster, and I just can't wait to actually get your opinion on some of this stuff. So, I'm ready to jump into it.
Absolutely. I really enjoyed the first two episodes. I was unsure what the show was actually going to be, but how people describe it, it's a mixture of the circle and the traders, basically. And I think there's a lot of different components that can happen within this game that make it unique and interesting in itself.
100%. Like, it's got elements of like the mole in there. It's like an amalgamation of like 4 or 5 different games that have come together, which normally you would think would be like something that's like overwhelming or hard to follow, but it's actually so intuitive from a viewer standpoint to figure out exactly what's going on. It might be hard to explain to somebody what's going on, but once they watch an episode, it's like, dude, I totally get it.
Yes, please watch the episodes before listening to this podcast because you have no idea what we're talking about. We're bringing in handles, we're bringing in people behind the screen, we're bringing in people that are face to face with each other. There's just so many different things that can happen within the game, and it's just exciting to watch because it's a refreshing show, in my opinion. I think it's just a completely different face, and I think it can definitely go into another season after this, I'm sure, because I think the viewership will go up on this one, absolutely.
Oh, 100% agree. If they're able to maintain this level of entertainment throughout the entire series, I see no reason this wouldn't get picked up for a second season. And I would be surprised if I didn't see some of these people end up in some of the other NBC property shows, like future people on the Traders or Deal or No Deal Island or any of those other shows. Because obviously that's the huge thing in reality right now is pulling casts from other shows to have them interact with each other and get new types of interactions that we haven't seen before, that we've been like our dream casts have been waiting for,
And to think about this cast in particular, there's 3 familiar faces on it, and then there's other people that we had no idea necessarily who they were, and they got some awesome personalities with this cast. And I think it's very diverse as well because you have people completely different backgrounds intermingling in with what type of jobs they do, who they've interacted with beforehand, and how they're coming in wanting to play the game. Everyone has a different strategy.
100%. I couldn't have said it better myself. The diversity in this season, like you get people from all different walks of life. You get some people who are pseudo celebrities. You get some people who are, just regular Joes. People who are elite gamers. You have, you have the guy from Fire Festival. I mean, like, what else can you say? Like, that guy is sheer gold to me. Put that guy on every reality show. It just makes me happy. I'm so glad to see Andy King back on my screen. So with that in mind, maybe we should start going along with who the cast is, which I've already, started already. The first guy is Andy King. You know him. I don't know if you watched the documentary, but I watched the Fire Festival documentary. This man is, would you say notorious or famous?
I would go with notorious. I think that would definitely pinpoint who Andy is. And also, I think a lot of people will watch because of how entertaining Andy is in this show.
He is a ball of sunshine for me. But yeah, Andy King, he's known for, how do I say this? Doing what it took to get water.
Best way to put it without saying too much.
Well, they brought it up on the show, so They did. They actually mentioned it. So I'll bite the bullet. It's the after show. So he was known for giving a BJ for bottled water. Or did he actually do it? Or did he just say he was going to do it? That I don't remember.
I think he said, I'm not sure if it actually went through with it, but I definitely know it was spoken about. So either way, it was a mindset.
Oh yeah, definitely. He was ready to go. but yeah, so Andy King alphabetically is our first contestant, and like I said, he is entertaining from start to finish. Everything he says, he's very pragmatic about what he did and what he is notorious for. So ball of entertainment from start to finish. So I'm so excited to see what happens with him going forward. I guess our next contestant what are they calling them? Are they calling them players?
Yeah, we can go with players. That's
Okay,
fine.
cool.
I think that's a good way to reference them.
Excellent. So our next player is Christian. I'm sorry, no, not Christian. Christopher. He goes by Chris. Chris is 28 years old. He's North Carolina boy, and he's an outdoorsy, and he runs, according to this, a fishing camp. So he's almost got like borderline surfer bro vibes, I think. He definitely has that easygoing kind of ride to him. But yeah, do you have any thoughts on Chris?
He was there to find a lady. Like that's my biggest thought right there. There to find a girl, however he could, and I just think that made the first episode fantastic, just with that little storyline right there.
Oh
and
yeah, no.
We're obviously not to her yet, but I guess we don't necessarily have to go in alphabetical order since I brought her up. Sydney comes in, balls to the wall, basically, and is, yeah, I'm single, but has a boyfriend back at home, but my boyfriend's totally fine with it, which some people are. I mean, if they're there to win money, some people do what they have to do. So I'm fine with it. I don't have no issue with it. If your partner is okay with it, have at it.
No, it's 2024. I mean, like, if your significant other is totally okay with you flirting to get $100,000, then play that game. Like I love Sydney. She was there to win from the get-go. She was willing to lie, cheat, steal, flirt, whatever she had to do. She's awesome. So, coming from that, I think next one is Dylan. I think we got to bring him to the table if we're talking about loud personalities. Dylan is the way I said it is he's Jam Jam. He's like Jam Jam 2.0 from Survivor 44. He is loud, proud, total like ball of personality, flamboyant, however you want to say it. He is just probably the most entertaining person on this cast, I would say.
Unapologetically himself, never fake, always going to tell it how it is. Love those type of people because they're real. They are not going to do any. Yes, this game is shady. Of course, Dylan's going to be shady. Abso-freaking-lutely. But he's just going to be Dylan, and that's fantastic.
100%. He's somebody that I could see on any reality show. Like you could put him anywhere, and he is going to be massively entertaining. He's got a long career ahead of him if he can roll this out and pull this out to a win. Next on our radar is Jack. So Jack is I don't know how much of a gamer you are, but he is a national champion for Settlers of Catan, which is probably like back in like the 70s and 80s, there was like Monopoly, there was Memory. The first like real strategic board game that came out in the board game golden age of the early 90s was Settlers of Catan. And that is a game with some bargaining. It's a highly strategic game. It's a very big thinker, big brain game. And Jack is one of the best to play it. And I believe it's the United States. But I'm excited to see what he does. He's a big cerebral player. He's got a little bit of an awkwardness to him a little bit, but like he's willing to play that up.
Absolutely. So I'm very familiar with that game. So I'm going right there with the strategy component. In that game in particular, you can be dealt a bad hand, but you can figure out ways to still win it. And that is the type of player he seems to be for me. Even if he's in a tough situation, shaky situation, I think he's going to be able to come out of it just because he has the mindset and is able to think on his feet and go, okay, this isn't working. How am I going to spin this to make it go not in someone else's favor?
Yeah, exactly. He's able to make lemonade out of lemons, so to speak. He can play from the top. He can play from the bottom. He's going to be extremely exciting to watch, I think. The next one is Casey. Casey is our resident LGBTQ player. She's infamously known for saying that she is known for always coming in second place. Which in the beginning of the opening episode, that was her claim to fame in the first quote, that she's always second place. And the first thing that I thought is this foreshadowing? Is she going to be second place?
Yeah, they try to give us those lines sometimes where they get you thinking, okay, is that actually is what going to happen, or is history going to do something else in her favor? We don't know. However, what I will say, without giving too much away before we dive into the episode, because we're still going through the cast, what I'm seeing thus far, I'm feeling that.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, actually, she's also a Division I rower, so she's super physical. Yeah, no, and she has professional investigative. She does a murder mystery podcast. That's what it is. So she's definitely attuned to reading people and doing investigations and whatnot. So hopefully she'll be able to bring that to the table. The next up is we have Lily. Lily is a little bit more demure, a little bit more reserved than some of her other fellow players. But yeah, no, she says that she has a ditzy personality, and it's be interesting to see how that plays out. What do you think of Lily?
What I love about the casting choice. So you have someone like Dylan, and then you have someone like Lily, complete opposite people, and you want to see how they are going to interact with everybody else that is there in that cast. And so you have to have people that balance other people, that don't balance other people, and then where are they going to mesh? Where are they fitting in? And that's why I really am enjoying watching so far what Lily is trying to do in the game, because for the first episode purposes, I'm watching going, oh, she has no shot. But then going into a little bit more into the game, okay, maybe she can figure it out, learn from her mistakes, and try to adapt. Because yes, the quiet ones can sometimes be the sneakier ones because they're observing and watching people. So I'm interested to see how that is going to come into play for Lily.
That's awesome. That's awesome. The next one up is Marcel, professional gaming streamer. So in a game where you are acting anonymous, that may prove to be something that is extremely applicable to this game. They're used to operating behind a wall, so to speak, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Right. How do you feel about people telling people what they actually do for a living? That's my thing. I think if you're going to be behind a handle anywhere, playing someone fake in general, why would you really reveal what you do, even though that's face to face, but then you go into the underground and kind of be whoever you want to be? I just don't think you go in and share what you actually do if you think it's going to impact the game. And if someone tells me that's what their job is, that impacts the game for me.
100%. And that was probably the first big decision that you saw a lot of the players make in the very beginning. Like we saw Jack, he's specifically said that he's not going to tell anybody that he's a championship Settlers of Catan player. We see Andy's like, yes, I am the Fire Festival guy. We see different people approach that problem in different ways. Another example of it is, great segue to our next person is Nina Twine, the legendary, the queen herself. Her daughter, she also played on Survivor Australia. She's trying to keep that under wraps because she believes that that's going to paint a target on her. Now, is that smart? Is that not smart? I mean, that's something that we can discuss here. I mean, I personally think that it's probably a better move. But if she gets recognized, what does that say about her?
No problem. So you see someone such as Xavier comes right out. I was on Big Brother 23. Everyone, I don't know if people knew though. See, this is my thing. You run into a crosshair here. You either go the one direction, outing that you were in these particular shows, these particular games, or you try to keep it disclosed. However, if there is one person there that knows that you were on that show and then they go and tell everyone else, then they find you deceitful because you weren't straight up and honest with what you have actually been on before. So it's really kind of reading the situation, reading the people that are there. Me personally, if I was on the show, I would be like, boom, 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 know who you are. But I wouldn't tell them that because you don't want them to know that you know that about them. So I'm just shocked that no one has even brought up Nina yet, knowing that information. However, I kind of see it as lots of people might not be watching Australian Survivor here.
Mhm.
Even though they are, it's very, very popular, but still you can hide a little bit better. But people didn't seem to recognize Xavier either, which is stunning to me because Big Brother is out there.
Yeah, it's like at least undisputably probably top 3 reality competition shows that's out there right now. And the Cookout was a legendary.
Yes.
That made front pages all over the place. Like
Mhm.
Variety, People, all the publications had that, and Xavier was definitely one of the flagship people in that alliance. First black winner of Big Brother. I mean, that's legendary in and of itself, and deserves tip of the hat to.
Mhm.
Speaking of people who are keeping it close to their chest, though, I mean, our next person here is that we have Robbie. And
Yeah.
Robbie is a professional poker player, but she's choosing to not show her proverbial hand, as it were. And I mean, we could talk more about Robbie's game later, but that decision for her to like keep that stuff close to her chest, I mean, that's going to have ramifications down the line too.
Do we know what the statistics are when poker players play these games? Because Survivor it is not, well, obviously this is not Survivor, but again, I think poker players sometimes come in with this mindset, I'm going to be able to manipulate all these people, I'm going to be able to read all these people, and then it doesn't translate into the game. So I'm interested to see how it's going to go for her.
100%. The thing that I've heard, and I don't remember which poker player that played Survivor said it, but it might have been Garrett Adelstein. But he was saying that it's very easy to do this when you're sitting at a table in air conditioning and you're fed and you are waited on. But when you are in the elements, like poker players, when they're playing poker, I mean, you're at you're at the Ritz. You're being waited on hand and foot. You have no want for anything other than playing that game. Which in this particular game, they're not starving. They're not going through any hardship like that or anything. But there's a hell of a lot more layers to what's going on, other than just what's going on in that particular hand, what's going on in that particular instance of that table. And I think that that's something that a lot of people overestimate. A lot of poker players overestimate when they play any of these games.
Yeah, spot on. I think so as well. That's why I'm excited to see, since it's a different show, how it's going to work out. But we'll get into that when we hit the episodes, because I have some thoughts on it so far.
That's good. That's good. I love the thoughts. I can't wait to hear from them. Our next person is Tyrina. Tyrina is awesome. I think that she's another phenomenal casting choice because she's such a big difference from a lot of those larger personalities out there. So far, from what I've seen, she's been a little bit, more reserved, a little bit flying under the radar. She's a little bit older. She's 54. So she's a little bit more mature, but she also brings a degree of wisdom to the game that not many of the other players are going to have, and that I'm excited to see.
She comes across as a very patient player, waiting for her time to make the correct play, which I really enjoy watching some of those players because timing is everything, as you see in many games. And I'm really loving, as we talked about diversity, but the age diversity in the cast. We're getting, we have a couple older people, a couple younger people, middle of the road people, and I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing that she's bringing to the table too is that she has military intelligence training on top of everything. So that not only is she, different from everybody else in the cast from an age perspective, but she's also from a wisdom perspective, that's why I'm super excited for her. And then finally, I believe this is our last one, is we mentioned it before, was Xavier. At this point, like, can we call him a legend yet?
I think if he wins one more, I would say. One more. Give me one more game. If he wins this one, with people knowing that you were on Big Brother and all of that, hats off to you. Because you're right there on threat level with the other gamers that are in the game, to me.
Absolutely. I mean, like he came out not like bold, but just like very frank and very matter of factly. It was like, hey, I just want to let everybody know I was on Big Brother. And not only did he say that he was on Big Brother, he was like, yeah, and I won. Like he just dropped the bomb right on top of everybody right in the beginning, and everybody's just like, okay, cool.
They
Nobody
didn't have a
reacted.
problem.
No, nobody had a problem with it. How is that
This is
possible?
crazy. That's what I'm saying. This is absolutely crazy to me. And we're jumping far ahead, and I don't care. His name isn't even brought up.
No
Option after knowing that information, like nothing.
like how does that happen? How do you let somebody who is a proven like strategist, proven track record of being able to win social deduction games, and how do you not like bring his name up at all? Why? Who's playing this game?
Well, we've already talked about many of them. What I will say though is maybe people are just keeping it around for the time being and then are ready to strike. But we'll see if it works out. I think if you let people slide too long, they're just gonna nail you. And I think Xavier's one of those people that he knows how to win a game. He knows how to finish. And I fear if they let him get too far, it's game over.
I mean, like spoilers right now. I think that he's got a really good shot to win this thing already. Like you've seen his gameplay in episode 1, and he's he's riding the line. He's building his coalition, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing the right conversations. He's staying calm. He's staying collected. He's not ruffling feathers. And it's fascinating to watch him operate, even in a new game.
Definitely. I think we should just jump right into episode 1. I mean, we talked about all the players that are on the cast and all of that. And I will say they get into the house, the area that they're staying in, they kind of intermingle and mix, and then boom, that's when we get Danny.
Yeah, Danny is the would you say AI? She is the house.
Yeah, exactly. Let's roll with that.
Yeah. So Danny comes by, explains what's going on in the house, and the game to me, like, I don't know if you watched House of Villains, but it's very much reminding me of the mask challenge there, where everybody has to go on under an anonymity and have conversations, and then the cusp of the game, or the crux of the game, I should say, is that you need to be able to deduce who is who, because they take a test just like they do in the mole. And if you could correctly guess, well, if you're the person who gets the least amount of people who get you right to your anonymous handle, then you have the power. And Danny pretty much explains most of what the game is going on there. But yeah, no, Danny comes in, she does the thing, and they have to pick their handles.
Yes, this is probably my favorite part to watch, just seeing people's thought process of what handle to pick, because you're thinking not only what handle is going to throw other people off, what handle am I going to feel comfortable having represent me, because you ultimately, when you do pick your handle, that is you, because you are playing that particular handle. So picking something random might not always be the best strategy, because then you lose track of, okay, well, how do I want to navigate this handle, because I don't really know how I feel about it per se.
And the thing is like when they're choosing what these handles are, like the big decision is, do I want to pick something that is representative of me, or do I want to pick something that throws people off of my scent? Or they haven't had enough interaction with the other players to say, like, well, I think that I could pick this because it relates to this other person. You can't make that deep of a decision yet. So they have, I think it's like 20, maybe 25 icons on the screen that they can choose.
About 25. Yep.
Yeah. And Xavier comes on immediately, and he's like, do I pick something familiar, or do I pick something that is the antithesis of who I am, to throw people off? And we see both elements of that decision take place, because you have Robbie who comes in and she's like, well, I'm a poker player, but I'm not going to tell anybody I'm a poker player. So I could pick the dice because that means something to me. So Robbie ends up going with dice, going with Xavier's first thought in his assessment of the situation. And then someone like Jack, Jack does the exact opposite. Jack's like, you know what? I'm a more of a, for lack of a better word, a nerdy personality. I'm going to go with football, which is the exact opposite. Like
Yes,
I could do an entire podcast on what to pick and why.
Yes, we did talk about this. It's hard to navigate and decide what you specifically want to do. We don't know how long they had to decide, and I guarantee people were going back and forth between different selections. And also, what we don't see too, I want to know if other people were thinking the same handles as one another to decide on. Obviously, it's an episode, so they're not going to show that. I just would love to see, just the statistic breakdown of that, because it would be interesting to see what people were thinking generally the same. But going back to Robbie, I am good with the dice pick because she's not telling people what she does for a living. If you were intending to tell people what you do for a living, do not pick anything that is relative to that at all, because it's a dead giveaway.
But then if you think about it from the other way, because everybody's going to be thinking about you in that context. So it's like, if it were me and I picked the flamingo,
right?
Which flamingo was one of the icons. I looked at it. I was like, I wish I could do that. I actually have a flamingo tattoo as well. So, but I was like, if I pick the flamingo, is that too on the nose? And then I could be like, someone's trying to frame me. Like, you got to think about it for both. It's like, you have to be one step ahead, but if you're 2 steps ahead, you're too far.
That's why I'm saying it's a mind fuck of a game, because you just don't know. You have to think through a million different scenarios to get it right.
Exactly. It seems like such an innocuous decision to have to make in the beginning of the game, but the ramifications of it are huge. They're massive. Like this is like one decision that can make or break your game within 15 minutes of entering the house. It's nuts.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I know, it's crazy.
I loved it.
Oh, me too, because I didn't know what to expect when watching this show. When Johnny said the Anonymous, okay, sweet. What is the show about? Not a clue. Let me just pull it up. Oh, I see a couple people I'm familiar with. See other people, I have no idea who they are. Click on the show. I was hooked right away, just because it's different.
Yeah, as soon as they started doing the handle selection, I was like, okay, I can get on this, because they started talking about the decision process. And I feel like in a lot of shows, they don't go too deep into the strategy of it, which, that's what I like to watch. I like to watch the thought process. I like to watch human nature playing out on screen. And to see everybody's thought process on that and why they made their selections was like all like fuzzy and cuddly to my like brain nodes.
I agree. I'm really enjoying watching the strategy component, and you're going to get strategy every single episode, because you have the aftermath of who is the Anonymous, who voted for me, which handle voted for me, how am I going to talk with these people after. You have to remember, they've told us they're doing this within a day. They're eliminating someone within day one. Well, they get a whole night, and then someone's gone the very next day. Limited time to get to know people, limited time to get to know tendencies of people. So you have to be on your game, quick, observant.
Oh, 100%. It's such like getting thrown right into the fire. And it's putting people into a pressure cooker and see who breaks and see who bakes, But yeah, summing up what everybody, I mean, we talked about Robbie. She picked the dice. Sydney ends up picking Wizard because she feels like nobody's going to put together, because that's like a nerdy icon, and she's like this like enchanting pageant girl, Xavier picks Fish, very innocuous choice. I think that was a solid choice from Xavier. Casey ends up picking the shark. Now, that gave me a little bit of pause. I said, like, that's a little aggressive, isn't it?
It's a rough one to pick, because people can take it one of two ways. Okay, is it going to be, well, look at it from Casey's perspective, maybe, because people could think it's a loud personality in the house that could have gone with that. I'm going to come right at you. I'm going to say what I want to say to you. Maybe that was her thought process in picking that one. But I do think maybe going with something neutral that doesn't have this way or that way, just right in the middle, where people can't say, oh, this person is all the way out here, or oh, this person's dull. Like, what am I going to get from them?
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like if you pick shark, I feel like you have to have a certain personality in, the anonymous chat room. Like you have to be the shark, don't you?
Yeah. Pretty much. And she's not what we've seen so far. She is definitely not the shark.
Yeah, 100% she's not the shark. So next was Lily. let's see. She actually made a comment. She said that she was not going to pick the shark, specifically for that reason, which showed a little bit more of her thought process in the game, which I liked. Chris, he ends up picking Donut because it's silly, and he seems like a party guy, and he's not taking it seriously at that point.
Well, when you see some of the responses from Donut, that is him to a T.
100%. I feel like Chris is having a difficult time being Donut and not being himself from what we've seen so far. So Andy picks the butterfly because his mother was a social butterfly, which meant something to him. So I thought that was a cute little story from Andy. It's a pity that they didn't have a water bottle icon. That would have been appropriate.
Well, here's the thing. Someone absolutely picks that because then they're just trying to frame him. But then I think people are too smart to know there's no way that Andy picked that. But then it goes back to what we talked about there, like the reverse psychology of it. Andy's saying that, do I just pick it? Because everyone's going to think it's so
just
hard.
so on the nose.
Yeah, it's so hard.
And then Marcel picks $. For me, I felt like it was a little on the nose for him. Like when he picked $, I was like, yeah, that kind of figures. You know, he's like a dude, bro. He's got like the tattoos all over his arm, etc. You know, your thoughts?
With Marcel, I think that was not the best pick, but not the worst pick. For me, here's what I have the issue with $. I just think you just don't pick it in general.
Yeah. No.
Especially because we got money on the line. People are talking money. So get that handle out of there. So because then people say, I just want to get rid of the money because they're solely here for the money, which everybody is there solely for the money, but that's just putting it up even higher on a pedestal.
100%. The thing with $, with me was that like Marcel is a very successful streamer, and that's gonna get out eventually, I think. And streamers are known for that dollar bills, y'all kind of lifestyle. And to me, that's like, it's far enough away where it's not right on the nose, but it's a logical pick from that type of a personality. Dylan goes, Dylan chooses Alien. Which I mean, every moment that Dylan is on my screen, I am just elated with joy. But I felt like it made logical sense for him to pick Alien.
What's tied to Dylan with Alien? You have a theory.
I have a thing.
I'm ready.
So Dylan is a flamboyant member of the LGBTQ community who grew up in the country. So he probably identifies with feeling a little bit alien in that environment. So I bet you that had some sort of emotional connection to Dylan, and that's why he chose it.
That's a spot on way to think about it. I wish that could have been explained because like I said, we don't know everyone's tendencies on what they're specifically picking. It would be very interesting to get some of these people on when the show concludes, because I would love to pick their brain about their thought process through everything, because there's so many scenarios that they could explain to us. I thought this way, I thought that way, and then I chose to go this way.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, I really hope that we can get some of these people on after the show, so that way we can get their perspectives on things, especially in these types of situations where we have these innocuous thoughts in our heads. Lily, and then this kind of trickles back to what you were saying before about not picking anything that's too aggressive or too demure. We have Lily picks pizza, very, plain Jane.
Standard.
Yeah, because I believe it's a plain pizza. I don't know. It might have pepperoni on it.
It might have a little bit of topping, but as long as it doesn't have the jalapenos, the onions, the olives, all the mix, all the works, it's fine. It just
no pineapple.
No pineapple. Oh, we're getting started on pineapple.
I like pineapple on pizza. Oh, we're gonna have a fight. Nina ends up going with popcorn. Yeah, no, we can't agree.
We can't agree on everything.
Not at all. Nina goes with popcorn. Another solid choice. Very no relationship whatsoever. They understood the assignment, so to speak. And Serena ends up going with truck.
Love it.
Yeah. Perfect choice. So they all pick their anonymities, their icons, their handles, as it were, and then we go right to the challenge.
Yes, I love it.
I thought it was super cool.
I did too. Just the effects and everything that you were able to see, just the lighting, the design of it, you felt like you were part of it almost because you could play along in the game. You felt as though, right? When you're seeing what they're trying to remember, I'm sitting there watching myself going, oh my God, what's the combination? What is it? I thought it was quite fun. And then we see next social interaction of how are we picking the order?
Yes!
I love that it's not random. You're making the players decide their fate in the game and how it's going to work. And that's where you see, all right, these are the hesitant people. These are the bold people want to go back. And then these are the middle of the road. Let me be strategic. If I don't win the safety, that's okay. But I still want to feel like people don't think that I'm this bold person and this person that's just there to slide by.
Yeah. No, I was so happy that we actually got the thought process behind the selections. It was very Squid Gamey in that arena, but and there were different people making different decisions depending on how they wanted to be perceived or if they wanted to let the team down or anything. And those decisions have consequences down the road, which is what I love about it. Anytime that people can make decisions that have gravity and weight on the game, that's what I'm here for. And a case in point. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
And we get it with Andy because Andy said he's
number
really
one,
like,
right here.
Number one.
I'm done.
I'm done. I'm number one. And that's gonna make people think like that's gonna put a little bit of a target on you. Like Andy's not thinking that way. He's just thinking. I guess he's thinking like I don't have that great of a memory. I don't want to let the team down. I don't want to be a burden, so to speak.
Right.
But taking the easiest or the path of least resistance, that means that you're not a team player too. Like that's the perception that you're giving your fellow teammates. And in this instance, they are your teammates.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I'm loving about it too, because that's how they're making their money. They have to perform well in these challenges for the money to continuously go up. And so you want people that there's two tricky ways you can think about this. You do want people, if they are actually weak in that competition, you do want them going towards the beginning. But the fact of the matter is he was so quick to say, I'll go one. Let other people talk it through. Maybe say, I'm not really great at memory, not my strong suit. What are you feeling? Where do you think you want to go? And kind of do that instead of just volunteering right away. Because then people, what are they going to tell you? No, they're not going to tell you no. Why would you argue that? Why would you put a target on your back if you necessarily wanted to go one? Then that's where you slot yourself in a couple spots back. And then we see the people that try and go towards them because they're thinking about safety. How many can I go where I know I can get this right and beat the person out in front of me, which made it so entertaining.
Oh yeah. Because like, I don't know if we mentioned this earlier, but like the person who ever gets the highest number right gets, for lack of a better term, immunity for the evening. Which that adds a whole nother layer to the decision as well, which made it more compelling. But yeah, Andy picks one. I think anything over 7 is rough.
It's hard.
Yeah, because I believe it was Fishback who said it in Survivor Tokachins. That's the reason that phone numbers are 7 digits long, because the human mind can really only categorize and remember 7 things at once. So anybody who picked over 7 was setting themselves up for failure, I believe.
Yes, they were risking it.
Yeah, because it was like Marcel, Sydney, Robbie, and Xavier, I think.
Yes.
Somebody else I mentioned.
And Christopher was at the end.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And he didn't get to go because...
He didn't get to go, which that's risky in itself, because that's the other thing, the time factor. And I love that even more, because you saw when people had to think about, okay, which handle was it? I'm standing there contemplating, that eats up the time. And that's why you see the back and forth between Xavier and Christopher standing there like, oh my God, hurry up, people. But again, you want them to win the money. So you're for like the team, it's such a back and forth thing because you're rooting for them, but you're not rooting for them at the same time.
Yeah, no, and that like that push and pull is what makes it so compelling to watch. But yeah, just going through what happened in the challenge. So the first 7 people go, no problem. Just like we said, the first 7 things are going to be the easiest to remember. Marcel is number 8, and it starts to become tricky. So Marcel unfortunately gets it wrong. Sydney goes for 9. She doesn't complete it. And then we come to Robbie. And Robbie has 10. And lo and behold, Robbie plays her hand and shows that she's smart enough to remember these 10 random icons. And what does that say to everybody?
Target, target, target.
and she immediately just plays her hand and shows everybody that she's way smarter than she looks. And not to say that she doesn't look smart, but like that's the perception that she's trying to put out there. And everybody is like, okay, Robbie, moving right along. So now she's put a little bit of a target on herself, whether she meant to or not.
She's on the radar now. And that's the other thing. Do you want to win that first challenge?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you want to do well for the team. But when you see 2 people in front of you fail, does it cross your mind, maybe I should just fail too? Because 10's a tough number. Like, think about it. If someone failed at 5 and 6 and you're 7, okay, I'm going for it at 7. But 10, whole different story.
Yeah, no, you're really showing people, that you got a noggin, and that we saw that play out right like after the challenge. People started calling her out immediately. Yes. Maybe not to her face, but then like in confessional. But yeah, so Xavier fails at 11, and then they run out of time for Chris before he can go. So they added a certain amount of money. I don't remember, it was like $7,500 or something to the pot.
Yeah, I mean, I
never pay attention to that.
It's fine. I'm paying attention to the end result of the money. I'm more so paying attention to the strategy. I don't care how much money they're necessarily collecting because it's not my money. So
exactly, it just makes me depressed to see how much that they're going to be making.
I'm not winning any money, so I just want to see how they're trying to get their own money. I don't really know what this dollar sign is. I know in the second episode around what it is, just because I recently watched it within the past hour or so. Okay. But the second one, I got you.
Cool. So we fast forward. We got Chris has got the hots for Sydney.
Yeah.
He is. She's looking piquant to him. And this is where they bring up what we were talking before, where Sydney she's got a boyfriend, but if it's going to help her get further in the game, fair game, right?
Forget this. And I think a lot of people will forget it when watching the show. One evening, folks, they probably have been there for a total of maybe 6 hours, if that. And this is already happening. Unbelievable to me. It is crazy, mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's the quintessential Billy Garcia, love at first sight. Ever since like back in the day when like the showmances started, single people are always looking for and it gets you screen time. Let's be honest about it. Exactly. Yeah. So but yeah, no, Chris has the hots for Sydney. Sydney's willing to play it up even though she's not available, which that plays out in the next.
Oh yeah. And absolutely, that's why it was so perfect. And I also think too that's why it got the bulk of the screen time as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, yeah, because it was a full story for the first episode for sure.
Really?
So the next day they wake up. The house is super cool, by the way.
It is.
Yeah, it's like geometric houses. It's like a circle house and a square like bedroom, and I don't know.
It's different. The layout's different. I like that because it's not your standard Big Brother house, House of Villains, mansion house. It's different.
Oh yeah. I'd be curious to know where that is. Anyway, so Andy is working the room. He's trying to make connections. He's chatting with Robbie, and he tells everybody about the fire festival. And Andy, I just died laughing because Andy was like, "Yeah, no, I was a fire festival guy." And he just straight up does it.
I didn't even think about it. I just think it was. He just went ahead and did it with no problem. what do you even say? It leaves you speechless almost. Okay, you do you, sir, but I just,
I was
I
like,
want nothing to do.
that's what you're famous for. Okay. I was dying laughing watching that. And that's when I was like, really like, okay, we're in for some fun here.
Yes.
But yeah, I made some notes about that. But he's making connections, you know, he's building a little bit of a social game, which is nice. Xavier chimes in, like we said before. He tells everybody that he won Big Brother. Marcel is acting a little paranoid. It's not a big deal if you lose the memory challenge at 8. It's not.
Right.
He's worried that he's going to get targeted because of that. And it's like, well, you lost, 9 lost. You know, Xavier didn't get it right. Like you're making a mountain out of a molehill here, and I think that plays out.
Because you're almost putting a bigger target on yourself because you keep bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you just don't mention it or don't say anything, let someone else screw up, let someone else do like a little failure for themselves. And then I do think too, because it's such a mind fuck of a game, it's running through your head. So then you almost just talk about it just because you can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah. And it was a classic, probably because he's in his day-to-day life, he's used to being an elite gamer. And when you compete at a certain level, you're hypercritical of your own failures, and you almost put a magnifying glass on that, and inadvertently force other people to pay attention to it. And I think that he just fell into that classic trap psychologically.
For sure. And it's been fun to watch people how they have interacted, because they had the night, they got to process the challenge, the next morning hit the ground running, and then we get to someone such as Lily, and Lily's working out. I'm sorry, did you not know you signed up to play a game show? Because it's about money. I'm not there working out, I'm there talking to people, I'm having people get to know me. And that's when I think we saw it on night 1 specifically, but there's a group of 4 of them talking, and they all say her name at the same time, who they're not getting a connection with. And not everyone is the same. Some people aren't the loud voice. They can't go into a room and just make their presence known and make those initial connections. They need a slow burn.
Yeah. That was Dylan, Sydney, Chris, and Casey. They were standing at the bar and they were talking about that. But yeah, no, like this is a social game. Like this isn't just a game where you're playing memory. Like you need to bob and weave. You need to get out there. You need to forge alliances. You know, this is Game of Thrones in real life. Come on, people. I made a note here and I wanted to bring it to the table. Dylan's laugh is hilariously awesome. I love that man, and everything that he does he's incredible. But fast forward, we get Jack strategizing with Andy.
Yes.
And this is a big one. So they connect. They're like, we're BFFs. I got your back. I trust you. And this is going to play out over the next 2 episodes. I think pretty gravitously, if that could be a word.
We can make it a word. Whatever sounds good. It sounded great. So if it's in the dictionary, awesome. If it's not, I'm not worried about it. But again, you're correct. This is the focal point of episode 1 and episode 2. And it just showcases the deception that people are going to have within this game. Because Andy, confident as all be, this person, hands down, has my back, no questions asked, not even thinking twice about it. And then you have someone such as Jack. Use this to my advantage. This person feels so good with me that they will never think it's me. It's brilliant. Now, is it going to backfire? We don't know, but it's brilliant for the time being.
Absolutely. And like, while the entire strategy works for this game in particular, like the way that Jack formats his strategy going forward, it's fascinating to watch it. It's brilliant. It's exactly what he needed to do. He understood the game better than I think most people at this point, because they're only there. This is the second day. And they haven't even gone into the anonymous room yet, and he's already formulating all this. Dylan wants to work with Xavier, and Dylan pegs a target on Lily and Marcel. That's basically where I got there.
Right. No, right there with you. I just think You have to paint on target on other people, because going into the anonymous room, that's when the game really heats up and starts to begin, because people don't know who's who and how people are thinking. And your thought process can change on a dime when you see what someone else says.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm so excited to talk about
the anonymous mode. Yeah, so then we cut to anonymous mode. So just so we understand the rules here, they get to talk to anonymously for a period of time, and then each handle gets to choose one player that they put up for elimination. And anybody who gets one vote, you don't need a majority of votes, you don't need whatever. Anybody who gets one vote is at risk or on the chopping block. They refer to it as at risk. Then afterwards, there is a test. And the test is who is who. And the person who the most people are incorrect about, that person becomes the anonymous. The anonymous then gets to arbitrarily, with no discussion whatsoever with anybody, gets to choose who is eliminated from anybody on the block. That is brilliant from a game design perspective, I think. It has layers of decision making, and it makes it so like a majority doesn't rule all the time. Like you can't just alliance your way to the end of 5. It's very similar to Big Brother in that matter.
That's what I love about it too. This game, your vote matters.
Mhm.
And I think it's awesome because you are not out until the anonymous person tells you that you're out. So you can strategize all day long, but your vote, you get one, and you
Mhm.
can put it on someone. And see, the thing is, even say the anonymous person voted for somebody else, they can be like, I have the power. Okay, this name's on the table. Why not? Why not get rid of this person?
Yeah.
Because that's what people do when they're voting. They know maybe some people are going this way. I'm just going to put my vote that way too, just in case, just to make sure that it's there and people can see, yeah, I'm thinking the same way you are. But when you have the one singular vote,
Mhm.
you can do whatever you want with it.
Yeah, and it's the one singular vote that you don't have to answer to
Yes.
because you're doing it anonymously.
Hmm.
So you can, completely go the opposite way of the way that your alliance or the people that you're working with want to go, just because it benefits your game, and then you don't have to actually, pay the piper on that at all, which is beautiful. I think it's phenomenal game design. So we get into the chat room. Andy acts first, being the social butterfly of it all. The Let's see, what do we have here? We had okay dice roll them.
Yeah, it gets good right away. It's the thing is, I was waiting to see how long they were gonna like teeter around, and they just went for it. Maybe you had one or two responses where people were like, "Yeah, how's everyone doing? How's everyone's day?" No, cut to the chase. Give me the gameplay.
Yeah. So Jack is trying to use the logic while he's going through this, saying he wants to seem like football is a girl playing a guy, which is brilliant strategy, I think. He's not trying to be somebody trying to be a guy. He's trying to be somebody who's trying to be somebody. So he's thinking one step further than what most people are at this point in the game. So he used the words dudes. Do we say that a lot?
I shouldn't speak for myself because I go, "What's up, y'all?" Like, dudes. I call people dudes all the time, so it's
Right.
but I might be the incorrect person to ask with that because it's like, I think it's a sporty thing. That's why football dudes,
Dude,
bros.
bro.
Yeah. I think that's what the angle
Jack's
was.
doing that. That's the game Jack's playing right now. But yeah, no, the okay dice roll 'em from Butterfly Andy. Immediately Xavier is like, that's a dad joke. That's got to be Andy. And Xavier has Andy pegged as Butterfly as early as like the third thing in chat. And he's right.
Yeah. Spot on.
Spot on. Great read from Xavier. It just goes to show like a lot of the confessionals from Xavier in this game shows that he understands what's going on and the decisions that people have to make. And it really just makes me feel like he's going to have a long term in this game if he doesn't win. He understands it
as well. Just based on what we're seeing so far. The one way I think it goes south for him is, as I was talking about that point before, with the one singular vote, someone goes, oh, he has one vote. I might just pull the trigger now while I can. Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I could see him running into. But otherwise, I think he has a really good read on the game thus far.
100%. Let's see. Dylan puts Lily on blast in chat at that point. And because she's quiet and they call her out. And obviously they're doing it under anonymity. Dice backs him up on it. Like they're starting to pile on Lily a little bit. Now the interesting thing about this and what makes me think even more about it is like Lily's like, oh crap, like people are targeting me, but you can't defend yourself in anonymous mode because you can't give away who you are. So how do you navigate that? Do you, as Lily, and you're in that seat, did you pile on Lily as well? Because if you start defending Lily, people are going to think it's you.
Yeah, and it plays out two different ways that we see. In episode 1, it plays out, stayed super quiet, didn't really say anything. Episode 2, Robbie balls to the wall, like, hey. But that's what I'm saying. It's every player is different. So it's interesting to see what their approach is going to be when they are called out.
So Xavier, thinking, 4D chess move here, Xavier decides to defend Lily because he wants to think, or he wants everyone to think that Lily is fish. So because he understood the assignment and he's thinking fourth dimensionally. It's like I said, it's amazing to see him operate. Then chaos like completely engulfs the chat. Lily blasts Dylan. Chris backs Nina. Like everybody starts talking. But then Casey chimes in and she starts putting Sydney on blast.
So good. It was good. It was great. Because it's out of nowhere. Did you see Sydney's face? Gold. Like, what? Why am I being brought
like,
up?
Where did that come from? And it makes sense. It makes sense because they're seeing Sydney and Chris as a duo because Chris has the hots for her, and we all know how that operates. Like won't. Yeah, exactly. Like as soon as you get into a showmance in any of these games, you're done for, and they've only been in the house for a day.
Yes. Why? I get it. Screen time. You were there for the money. Please play for the money. You're killing me. You can find love outside of the house. There's dating apps you can go to. I guarantee this man likes to go to the bar. You can find somebody.
There's somebody out there for you, I swear. Oh, it was so great to watch. But yeah, so Sydney is like, what the hell is going on? And then out of nowhere, the pièce de résistance, Jack comes out for Andy.
Yes.
That was amazing. When football comes in and he starts saying, well, he only picked one in the challenge. Like, he's not going to be much of a help going forward. Andy's face, you could just see somebody like shattered his favorite Swarovski crystal like chandelier. Like, he was like, me? Oh. So Andy is now like, what the hell did I do? Why is football coming after me? Little does he know football is his closest ally.
It's you can't make this up because of how good it is.
It's perfect. Like Jack did it the right way. He really did. And it definitely plays out over the next couple of episodes. But then Andy's like, well, now I don't want people to know that I'm Butterfly. So Andy blasts himself. He's like, that guy Andy's too old.
Like, that's not even, it doesn't matter. That I don't think people care about the game. Like, you should have just given some better context. Talk about the game.
Yeah. I love you, Andy.
I don't care if you're old or not. What
I don't.
did you? But that's Andy though. That's why I love him, because
He's such a big heart.
He's precious. It's such good casting.
It's perfect.
Casting.
Love it. So then we get to the vote, and Andy straight up starts this segment, and he's like, "I trust Jack completely," which is the exact opposite of what he should have said. But yeah, so the votes are anonymous. At the end, it ends up with, I believe, 2 votes for Lily, 6 votes for Sydney, 1 vote for Dylan.
Yes.
And
Dylan's reaction.
What?
Well, and then wait, it was Marcel that voted for Dylan, correct? Because then Marcel does the Dylan reaction perfectly. This is the thing. I love the little cubicles that they're in, because then you can just see it going back and forth. And Marcel's like, "This is how it's actually going.
What's happening?"
Yes.
It was so great because he had it to a T. It was what? What? They picked me! Ah! It was so great. And Marcel's like, "That's what's happening right now," and he was listening for it to see if he could hear it.
Yeah.
So Football Jack votes for Andy, Pizza Lily votes for Chris, Wizard Sydney votes for Jack, and Donut Chris votes for Marcel. So at the end here, at risk, we have Lily, Sydney, Dylan, Chris, Jack, Marcel, and Andy. That's 7 people on the block.
Out of 12. That's crazy.
Oh, and I wrote a note here too. I love that Andy's GIF that they have, like whatever, is him with a bottle of water.
It's so good. They did it right. They hit it on the head. They did it right. They did it right.
So the next segment, they're talking to Jack. Andy thinks football vote for him might be a diversion. Like he's like confiding in Jack about football's intentions. And Jack's like just like keeping a straight face, keeping it deadpan. And I'm wondering at this point, I'm like, is Andy putting the pieces together? I don't know. I was hoping that he was going to.
And then not at all. It's
just total Charlie Brown move. He had the football lined up. He had it in his crosshairs, and football just swept it away. Sydney's angry about the whole situation, obviously, because she was put up, and then we get to the test. And then this bugs me. And this is so many shows these days. They take the test and then they leave it on a cliffhanger.
Surprised though, like you have to mentally prepare yourself when you're watching a show. They are never going to give you the ending, especially on episode 1. And I can attest to this there's a new season. I'll plug something here. New season of the challenge, season 40 is out. We have great coverage. Polly's there, Alex, Dan right there with him, and they do the same thing. They leave you with cliffhangers on episodes, and it's just awful.
I think it's the worst thing that's plaguing TV shows now, and it's the advent of streaming. But yeah, no. So I wrote very angry notes about that. But luckily, they launched the first 3 episodes. So do you have any other episodes or thoughts about episode 1 before we move on to 2?
The only thought I thought it was a great opening. You gave us the characters. We got to know so many of them, their personalities, who they are, how they're trying to play the game. I think only a couple people got minimal screen time, which means to me that their screen time is probably coming, because I do think everyone there has something to offer. And I wouldn't say there's really a dud on the cast. I think someone brings something to the table. There's quieter players. I'm hoping that they come out. If they come out, I have more hopes for them. But I want to see Lily play. That's what I want to see. I want to see what Lily has in the tank. And I think she does have something there. She's not dumb. She does understand what is going on to an extent, but she hasn't found her close people where she feels comfortable confiding in them just quite yet.
Yeah, no, she's a reserve player. She doesn't strike me. She strikes me as like an introvert by nature. Which makes it hard for her to, connect with people. I think Marcel has an issue with that as well. He has a very difficult time finding, opening up to people and whatnot. We see that play out as well. But Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the casting has been phenomenal. I love the fact that it's only 12 people and not 16, not 20. It gives you time to really get to know the players in the house, and it gives you their perspectives on. So they get so much more screen time. It's wonderful. But yeah, no, I was super stoked on episode 1, and I couldn't wait to start episode 2.
Here we are. We're going to talk about episode number 2. I know we are just very excited to talk about this in general. So I know it's a bit long. Maybe we can roll through episode 2 a bit quicker. We will try, we promise. There's just so many things to talk about.
It's so fun. It's just such a great show. But yeah, no, we'll try to speed it along here. So we'll get right to the results. We'll jump into episode 2. So they narrow it down to Andy, Sydney, and Lily, and then the eliminated player ends up being Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense strategically, I think, because of the pair thing that we were talking about before. Right. But then Sydney just drops a bomb.
Yes, so good. And you see people's faces, and that's what I'm happy she did it. There's some people that would just walk out of the game and not say anything about it. But Sydney's like, I know I'm first, but I'm giving my moment still. I'm dropping the bomb and saying this is what happened. Yeah. I thought it was great. I commend her for it because not everyone's going to do that. And this is why I think she was on the cast, because they wanted to see a person like her come into this environment and see how she would do and how it would play out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and I think given other circumstances, I think she would have done more than fine. I just think that the roll of the dice this game ended up, not rolling in her favor. It was then revealed that Jack had won the Anonymous. 100% because he's playing so well, because football is targeting Andy, who is, Jack's biggest ally. So Jack is just remaining completely under the radar. So kudos to Jack there for sure. Yeah, so Sydney admits she has a boyfriend, and you look at Chris's face. It's like somebody spilled milk on his pants. It was.
He had no idea. No idea what's coming.
Sorry, Chris.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
If someone says they're single, I'm assuming that they're single, and then they drop the bomb. I just don't think he knew what to say, so he's kind of like, "Yeah, just do you." I don't.
Yeah, Chris, it happens to all of us from time to time. Don't worry, I'm on your side. So yeah, no, I think Jack has a great handle on the game so far. Lily recognizes that she needs to socialize more. She discusses that she needs to get out there. She needs to actually, make connections with these other people. Chris is putting the target on Marcel. That's his plan. And Marcel's plan going forward, since he was nominated, is that he wants to become the Anonymous. That's his plan. Interesting, bold move. We'll see how it plays out. So we fast forward to the next day. Chris pretty much assumes that Shark is Casey. People are starting to put pieces together, right? And he's right, because Casey is Shark. Like Casey's right there, and he says it right in front of her, though. It's like, actually, wait, the way that he says it is Chris is he's blasting Shark, who that's what it is. He's blasting Shark, and Casey is right there, like curious. I'm sorry, I said that wrong earlier.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to piece these together.
It's hard to, especially going back to back, just going straight line all the way through. I think the other issue, Casey, the facial expression for me is not great. When someone's talking about you, you kind of want to make it sound better, or contribute to the conversation. And I feel as though Casey didn't do well in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. She doesn't have a very good poker face.
No, not at all.
She wears her heart on her sleeve, which I appreciate in real life. It just doesn't work in a social game. Lily and Nina are chatting. Lily says that she trusts Nina completely, and Nina is on board with Lily. So they're kind of working as a pair. They want to talk to, Dylan, Nina, and Casey are chatting. They want to talk to Robbie, and they want to pull her in. as one of their alliance. So they're trying to come up with they're trying to partition themselves into alliances at this point. They want to try to find people that they can trust and that they can work with, which is interesting to see play out.
Problem is, though, you're doing these alliances. However, once you go into the handle, it completely changes the dynamic of the entire game because those people are pretending to be someone completely different. So then, yeah, you have this group here, and you can talk about the vote, and those people might vote particular ways. However, they don't want to be obvious about what their handle is. So say you four all agree to vote together. That's not what's going to happen under the handle. Someone's going to absolutely go a different way because then you can be like, oh, wait, I talked with these four people, and so we were all going to do this, and that's what happened. I know three people's handles. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, exactly. And you can't share your handle with anybody because it can be weaponized against you so quickly. So we get into the challenge. This challenge, it's like a skee ball game. It's
nothing special. and I thought the first one was cool. This one is just standard. You have 5 minutes to throw the ball to get as much money as possible. However, if you do hit another players, they are not able to be eligible to be safe, which I did like the element because some people were playing to absolutely knock people out and other people, oopsies.
Yeah. That was the one thing that I did like about that. Was that you could make those decisions, which Marcel's family owns a party game company. What was it? It was something weird like that. But apparently he's very adept at throwing balls around. Excuse me.
When you practice that, I mean, think about it. If you're a baseball player, you are trying to do that. Football player, I know football's bigger and stuff, but it's hand-eye coordination. Either you got it or you don't, and you didn't have it.
Definitely not. God, I love Andy. I hope he stays in this game forever. So the game goes, Marcel and Jack tie for first place. They add about, I think it was $22,000 to the pot or something, some crazy number.
Around 32,000 or something.
Right, that's how much that they've added to the pot so far.
Yes.
Nina made a conscious choice to block Marcel. I didn't catch who knocked out Jack.
I don't know if they told us because we know that Dylan accidentally hit. Who did Dylan? No, Dylan did. Dylan's the one that hit Jack.
Okay, Dylan's the one that hit Jack.
Dylan's the one that hit Jack. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and then Nina was next, and she was blocked by Tyrina.
It was an accident.
She's like, "Oh, that was an accident." I believe that though.
Well, you could see the flow that she even said. I might have hit mine, but I also might have hit Nina's, so she didn't even know who she hit, which is telling. That means it was a mistake. Dylan, even if Dylan wasn't a mistake, absolutely can play that card and play it off like, what? That's why we didn't mean to hit you, man.
So Xavier was third place, and Xavier got immunity for the evening. And of course, as we said before, our poor friend Andy was last. Having only
11.
gotten like 7. Oh, what was it? 11 balls?
It was 11. Yeah.
Oh.
It was better than not being in single digits. I give him that, but wasn't the highest one was 66, I believe.
Yeah, he's like only 6 times the amount of balls.
Yeah, that's where it's problematic for me. But again, you've seen it in the first challenge, 1 for the memory, and then 11 this. Then I'm starting to think, all right, I'm here for money. Maybe Andy then becomes on my radar. Because if it comes down to challenges and you can't perform the challenge, then the pot's lower, whether I stay longer than you or not.
I just love that man and everything that he does. I agree with you. Like you got to have people who can perform in challenges. Otherwise you end up with pots like in the Traders too. And people who just can't perform in challenges, and then you have to like pick up all the slack on your own, which is not fair to you, because then you end up trying to just win money for other people. So let's see. The challenge is ending, and then let's see. He's planning on targeting, or Jack is planning on targeting Andy again. He did a poor performance, and if it worked once, becoming the anonymous because football was targeting Andy, why change? Right?
I wouldn't, if it's working and no one sniffs you out, I stay consistent until it gets broken, which is what I'm interested to see moving forward when it indeed does break. How are you adapting? How are you changing your game and recovering?
Yeah, and Jack actually goes to Andy and he says, like, dude, I think you're gonna get targeted again, fully knowing that he's the one who's gonna do it.
Yes. It's perfect. You can't write it any better than that, which that's the thing. I haven't seen this good of gameplay right off the bat from somebody in a long time. He knows the game.
Yeah,
The question is it going to backfire at one point? Is it too hard, too fast? That is going to be the key.
it's diabolical, is what it is. Robbie thinks Dylan is onto her. That she's dice. That's the other note that I have here. So Robbie is starting to get a little wary of Dylan. Then they go into anonymous mode.
Back in.
And yeah, we're back in. We're back in. Everybody's back in their little isopods, which incidentally, I just love the interior design of it. The hexagons with the lighting on it. Very pretty. The production design in this game has been great. I love it. Let's see. So Pizza Lily wants to work with Marcel. She's trying to keep people off her scent, so she brings up his challenge prowess.
Yes.
Yes. So she brings that up. And Popcorn Nina, that's how I'm referring to everybody now, affirms, like, oh, Marcel, he's got a great challenge performance. So it's like, oh my God, is he a threat? They're starting to bring that up. And a Butterfly Andy comes in on that too. Yeah, no, he's big. Donut Chris. Yeah, no, Marcel's a big threat. Robbie is also a threat. Now Robbie's like, whoa, now I got to do something about this. Like, why are they bringing me up again? So Dollar Marcel chimes in and he's like, yeah, Marcel, he's a threat, and so is Robbie. We should, start targeting them. So he's trying to deflect. Like, there's so much going on here. Like, it's like spinning my head.
There's a lot because it's very quick. The
Yeah.
thing is, we talked about the strategy and different approaches. When Robbie was brought up, Robbie then went on Robbie. Whereas you saw Lily in the last episode when Pizza Lily was brought up. All right, I'm going to stay quiet until someone else says something different and see where I can go from there. But that goes back to personality. Robbie, strong personality. So you go into big defense mode. What do I have to do to get on board so it can be anybody else? And someone does a different name further along down the road where you have quieter Lily. Oh, what am I going to do here? I need to wait for someone else to do something because I am indecisive at this moment.
Yeah. And Robbie this actually ends up flustering Robbie a little bit. I thought she was going to be a little bit more steely about this, but she immediately reacted, and then she took it the way that you said. She was like, oh, poor Robbie isn't safe anymore. Like she came across as almost empathetic but accusative at the same time, which who would do that other than somebody who is trying not to seem like they're that person?
Right.
Like, there's definitely some psychology that can be analyzed. And immediately after they say that, Lily, oh, dice must be Robbie. Casey, oh, dice must be Robbie, because it's such a transparent thing. Then Football Jack, like clockwork, comes in and throws Andy under the bus again.
I mean, he warned us. He said it's coming. This is what I'm going to do again, because why not do it if it worked the first time for you? I don't blame him. I think it's great because the thing is, if Andy was maybe onto you or thought, oh, maybe, possibly could be you, Andy's not, though. So that's why you're able to do it so smoothly.
Yeah, no, it's like everybody in the house knows that they're close to each other. Maybe they don't know about like how close, like, oh, I trust you implicitly or whatever, because that seems to be whispers, but they know that they're friendly and they are working together. So they're never going to think that Jack is Football. It's genius. It's perfect. It's exactly what he should be doing. Tyrina suspects that Chris is the donut because of a crash joke that he made about the bottled water. Because he said something along the lines of like, Andy is a team player, or I think it was like he would blow someone for water. Andy is a team player.
Which is a classic Chris comment. And that's
100%.
the thing. Chris hasn't figured out the game, I don't think, fully, because he's still himself in anonymous mode. He really is. I think he's gonna be in trouble sooner rather than later, just because people just know, and so you might as well just get rid of someone that you know who it is.
Do you get rid of someone that you know who it is?
I don't know. I go back and forth. For me, potentially, because then I know exactly what I'm getting rid of. Whereas another person, I could be getting rid of an ally and someone that I wanted to work with in the game because I don't specifically know 100% what their handle is. So it's a mixture of both. I think you can go either different direction with this strategy, because you would feel like shit if you lost your ally because you didn't for sure know what their handle was, where you know this is his handle. If he's not working with me, send him out of here.
Like I would think like okay, I know who his handle is. I already know what his game is. He's not a huge threat at that point. Like I would think of it more along the lines of like, okay, who do I not know? Who do I like in the traders? It's like if I know who the traders are, like getting out the traders, you're just adding another layer to it because they're just going to replace it with somebody you don't know who that's going to be. So you might like I'd rather have known quantities than question marks around me.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, people take a different direction. This is why I love having the back and forth, because we don't agree on everything. And I don't like agreeing with somebody on every facet of a podcast or episodes.
100%. Yeah, no, agreed completely. Yeah, no, and then let's see. It's so basically it's going to be between Robbie, Marcel, or Andy at this point. That's kind of what they're giving off. And Robbie says we should get rid of the threats. Dice Robbie comes out and says that. So Robbie's basically putting herself and Marcel on blast.
Putting
So
yourself in the threat component. Exactly.
Exactly, including yourself in the threat.
Yeah, that's not the great strategy, but you did it. You already said it. You already set yourself up.
Exactly. So we get to the vote. Andy votes for Marcel. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 votes for Marcel, 2 votes for Robbie, 2 votes for Lily, 2 votes for Andy.
Andy's not gonna like it too much.
No, he's not. He's gonna take it personally, and I feel bad for Andy. And then 1 vote for Casey. And then Casey, she kind of cries a little bit when that happens. She gets really emotional. And I felt that through the TV. I felt that because it's like, who would vote for me? But yeah, no. So we end up with Marcel, Robbie, Lily, Andy, and Casey up for elimination.
5 people this time versus 7 people in episode 1. And I think that is a testament to how the game shifts and how the game's going. First episode, people are still trying to feel it out. Second episode, people kind of have, okay, these are my specific targets I'm trying to go for and feel out who it is. And so that's where you see the 5 come in. And then, of course, you have the couple throwaway votes because that's what they're trying to hide. They're trying to hide identity with who's what and hide my handle.
100%. I mean, like Marcel said it best when he was doing his vote. He was like, I need there to be more options out there. You know, I need for like, I can't just have 3 people on the block because that's a 1 in 3 chance of going home. Like if you're thinking about it, I need to put other people on the block so there are more choices for whoever the anonymous is. So that way I only have, like, in this case, a 1 in 5 chance of going home as opposed to a 1 in 3 or a 1 in 2 chance going home, you know, forbid. So we come back out of that. We're done with the vote. And now they have reactions to that. You know, Robbie's like super sad. Marcel's trying to act a little bit chill. Jack thinks that Dollar is funny, and deduces only a handful of people are funny. So that narrows it down. Like Jack's kind of figuring it out. So Jack is trying to frame Robbie as football. I don't know if that was a really good idea. That didn't land well.
Yeah, it didn't stick that well because I think so many people in there had Robbie pinpointed to Dice. And if they didn't, maybe it would have landed better. But the fact of the matter is, once people have one thing in their head, it's hard to get them to change what's in their mind already. And so I think that was Jack's first moment of, oh, this isn't 100% going how I thought it was going to go. So how do I need to redesign my thought process and do something different.
100, like that's exactly the way he did it. He was able to pivot and he was able to move off of it because he saw that it didn't land, and that's a testament to a good game player. And you're seeing that in Jack, now, and then he changes his thought process from there, and he starts I guess the word would be pegging Casey as football at that point.
Yes,
so he does pivot,
right. He does. It's just the problem is, I think too, you run into a situation when you do, you're tossing out too many people. I think once you do the one, maybe stay quiet and see what other people think first, versus then, okay, that didn't land, let me give another name. I think that's pushing maybe a little bit too much, in my opinion. But again, people have different play styles. People play more outrun, front and forward with all of that, and some people like to stay behind and really feel out what other people are thinking first before they give an opinion on it.
Completely. So Lily, Xavier, Tyrina, and Robbie are talking. Robbie is very non-committal in everything that they're talking about. Lily is too quiet, and Lily tries to bring up Alien for some reason. They're all like trying to navigate this, and I don't feel like any of it's really landing at that point. But yeah, no, that. A lot of this episode was much quicker than the last one.
Right.
We ended up into the anonymous test. We had some thoughts from the players. Chris, Jack, Xavier, they all think that $sign is Marcel correctly. Nina, Casey think that Robbie is Dice.
Yep.
So we have So some people, and Robbie thinks that Andy is Butterfly. So some people are not really staying under the radar, and then we see some people are doing extremely well at staying under the radar, like Jack. And I think Tyrina is in a really good spot from being under the radar in that capacity as well.
I think Nina's doing great too so far, because Nina's not really being brought up as someone at the moment. Popcorn, no one suspects Popcorn of anything, so I think that's great on her. And that's the thing too. I think come episode 3, we're really going to start to see people figure out a little bit more, put the pieces together more. And then I'm excited for this. You're going to see people start to argue about different scenarios of who's this person. I agree with this person. I don't agree with that person. And that's where the arguing and the clashing is really going to start.
Absolutely. There's the conflict is starting to boil, and you can see the tension starting to happen. We haven't gotten out to all out war yet. And I feel like we will. We're going to start seeing some major conflict, I think, over like the next 3 or 4 episodes, because people are going to start either figuring out or accusing other people of other handles. And I think that people are going to get more and more unhinged in the anonymous to try to ruffle feathers. Because the more you can ruffle feathers and the more that you can affect people's mental state, the more it's going to show outside of the anonymous room, and it's going to affect their gameplay outside.
Unless you have a stone cold brick face that you show no emotion, people are going to feel emotion in this game, especially because of how quickly it is going. It's in a span of a few days. We're already seeing 2 eliminations. We obviously don't see what the elimination is on this episode in particular, but we're seeing how quickly the game is going. And that takes a toll on people in the sense of the speed, the reaction time. I don't have time to process, so I have to go on, try and put this face on, but it's hard to do. It's hard to keep that poker face. And we thought Robbie would have a better poker face, and thus far, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. It's been really surprising to see her play the game, because you just like when most of the poker players play the other reality games, like we were talking about before. It's like you think that they're going to bring a certain level of competitiveness to these games, and then they end up falling short. And if she ends up pulling this out, I will be astonished. She's put herself so far behind unintentionally with how she's been interacting in the room, and with her aggressive stance in the first challenge. Like, she's really put a target on herself, and if she can pull out of this, that'll be flabbergasting to me.
Stellar gameplay. So I'm excited to see how it pans out for her. Don't have high hopes right now, but people can surprise you. You've seen you're the reality TV fan too. You have seen people pull it out shockingly, and you go, where did this come from? Where did the win come from? But brilliant. I love watching it. I do. This is where I'm gonna go with this. Jack is just so upfront right now, playing really well, but I want to see the demise a little bit. I kind of do, just that within me, just seeing, yeah, you were top dog, and then someone came in and swooped up that we didn't see coming. I think that's just the way reality TV works. Sometimes people pull it out and you're not expecting it, and then I think it just makes the season and the dynamic of it completely different.
Yeah, no, it's going to be good to see. Like nobody's come out really as like a true villain apart from Jack, but Jack is a really likable villain. Like he's doing villainous acts, but he's doing it with a smile, and he's doing it with a likable kindness to him, because like you could tell the difference between who he is and who he's acting as in the game. And I truly do think that he has like a little bit of a connection with Andy to an extent. But I think he's willing to sacrifice that for the game. I can't wait to see how Andy reacts if indeed on the show he finds out that Jack is football.
I need to see it. You know the camera is going to be right there. The bigger thing is, can you follow Andy with the camera if he doesn't know in the game? Because I want to see the reaction watching it on the screen.
Yes. I'm so excited to see where this ends up going, because there are so many threads and storylines that have been opened up that have the potential to be just like mind-boggling to these players. I'm so stoked for the next couple episodes just to see how it all plays out. So in the end, just recapping everything just before we wrap this all up. The episode ends with them with Andy, Lily, Robbie, Casey, and Marcel up for elimination. They randomly eliminate 3 of the people from contention, so we're down to Marcel and Casey.
Yes.
And then we cut, because we let the credits roll before we ever give you any resolution to this.
They love doing that hard cut. They want you to go right to the next episode. So yeah, we'll break that down for you when we come back. Do you have anything else to say before I kind of exit us out for the evening?
I mean, apart from the fact that I just can't wait to see more of Andy. And he is just liquid gold, so to speak. And I just want him on every show.
I'll say it again. I think the casting was pretty spot on, so I'm excited to see more of it and how the game evolves. But yes, thank you so much for joining us for the Anonymous podcast, episode 1 and episode 2 at the Reality After Show. Very, very thank you so much, Adrian, for joining me in this. I'm super excited to go through all the rest of the episodes with you. There is so much content going on, folks, at the Reality After Show. We have Big Brother coverage. We have the Challenge Season 40 coverage. Survivor starts September 18th is the premiere, I believe. It's coming right up. Is that right? Am I spot on?
That is correct. And I will be at the premiere in New York City. So it's going to be an awesome time.
There you go. Premiere parties. There's always something going on, but definitely tune into all the other coverage that goes on our YouTube channel. This will be uploaded, so come a little bit. We did not do this one live. We will be back though on Thursday night, 8 o'clock Thursday, probably. We'll figure out a time for y'all, but we will be covering episodes 3 and episodes 4 for you. And with that, Adrian, you have anything else?
No, I think that was awesome. I can't wait to keep going. So let's rock and roll.
Awesome. Thanks so much, everyone.
Be well.